So technology is like a Pandora's box. Like once a new piece of technology is introduced into the world, it's not going back in the box. Whether it be social media, dating apps, car-dependent cities that we've built, they don't, or just cars in general. They don't just go away, and you can potentially just draw the conclusion that I'm very anti-dating apps, anti-social media, anti-cars, and to an extent I am, but I also understand they have utility, and also on top of the utility, they're not going to go away, period. But throughout history, there's very few instances of us inventing a technology and then all of a sudden just making it disappear, and unless the outcome is very immediate and transparent. For example, lead-based paints or lead-based gasoline. When it comes to things such as that, the health effects and the immediate impact on the environment is very clear. So we got rid of them just as fast as they came. Same thing, you can think of like torture devices, but there's so many other technologies that we've made that we've simply allowed to grow and expand and consume. And so in a sense, it's like society coming to an impasse where it's like, do we attempt to rein in technology and utilize it better and smarter, or do we simply just become drunk on the use of technology? And so, yeah, using dating apps, social media, things like this aren't necessarily bad on their own. They're bad in conjunction with how we set up our lives and set up society. Because at the moment, there's no such thing as society. It's very individualistic in the developing world. And that's kind of what we want to get rid of. We want to shy away from like the car dependent infrastructure, the dating apps, the social media, and make it more about people again, and let these things be kind of a tool to use. So for example, if you want to drive across the country, well, you should have the option of being able to take a train or an airplane, as opposed to just simply driving. But right now, what are your options? It's I'm going to drive or I'm going to be in a plane. And both can be very costly. The driving portion can be very, on top of it, is lonely, depending on the kind of individual you are. It takes a long while. It's a lot of gas. And on top of this, you're buying food the entire time. Whereas opposed if you build a train system, now all of a sudden you can get across the country a lot easier, cheaper, faster compared to driving. But on top of this, when you get to the city or destination, you still want to be able to get to that city, walk around, have an experience, feel like you're venturing into a new place and there's a new culture to explore. Vice now, where you get to a new city and it's like, okay, well, they might have different amenities here at this city that I had before, like a beach or mountains. However, it's all the same. You rent a car, you drive somewhere, you park, you get out, you have your time, you hop back in your car, you drive somewhere else. And that's not the kind of adventure you may be thinking of or want to have, which is probably why places such as Barbados or certain European cities are very popular, or even places in South America, because you don't need a car. You can just kind of walk around and start moving about and have this experience and have this time of your life as you just walk across the entire city. But when it comes to technologies being this Pandora's box, I understand you can't get rid of these things. They're always going to be there, but coming back to a place where we can actually focus on people instead of technology. Because right now, we're at a point where people are drunk at technology. We're in this drunken stupor of technological uses, where you wake up in your air-conditioned house, you hop in your car, you scroll through social media when you're at a traffic light, or some people do it while you're in traffic, especially if you have a Tesla and you're on autopilot. It's like you're just drunk on technology this entire time, and there's this whole world we're missing because we don't let people be people and socialize. And if you look at where, again, I've mentioned this before, but where people tend to live, they live in very populated cities, because you go there with this expectation that you're going to have this experience, you're going to meet different people, there's going to be different opportunities, dating, friends, job opportunities. You bump into this guy at the bar, this girl at the bar, you have a conversation, they're working on this project, you're working on the project. It doesn't happen like that because it's just very hard to meet people in cities these days. It's very hard to have those experiences. It's very hard to socialize. It's very hard to do anything of that sort. And eventually what happens is it not only takes a toll on your physical health, but it takes a toll on your mental health too. And it's all because, for whatever reason, we can't seem to rein in our reliance on technology, and we let it we've let it go so far past where it probably should have. But now we're at this point where, do we rein it in? Do we put it in check? Do we start realizing that, hey, there's certain aspects that we can't let get out of control? Or do we just continue on this path of destruction that we're on right now? And some places are doing a phenomenal job of this. I think Boston was saying that they want 70% of their commuters commuting by bike by like 2030 or something like that. Don't quote me on that specifically, but it was some numbers such as that. And then you have other cities that are already kind of set up for, high functioning train use, like New York. Over in Europe, they have a phenomenal train system. Pretty much everywhere, they damn near have a phenomenal train system, except like the US and parts of Canada. But either way, it's asking these questions. Do we rein in this reliance on technology, this dehumanization, and the slow integration that we have going into technology? Or do we just simply, fall in line, become one with all the devices in our hands, the devices that we hold, the devices that we sit in? Important questions to ask. And honestly, people move with their feet. So those questions will definitely be answered. I mean, there's a lot of people migrating from America to go live elsewhere. And partly it's because they want to feel like they're a part of something, want to feel like they're in a community and not just some drone out there as an individual, just kind of going about their day. That's why moving around is popular. That's why living in these densely populated cities are popular. You want to feel like you're in somewhere. You're living a part of some community that's living and breathing, as opposed to where we're at right now with most of our cities. It's going to be interesting to see if more cities fell in line with this whole notion of focusing on people instead of technology. Then we would potentially depopulate some of these highly populated cities like New York and Boston, and make them more affordable, and also make cities more desirable to live in outside of just those few cities that most of America congregates in. But that's that. Technology is a Pandora box. It's not going to scale back, I understand that, but can we at least integrate it and utilize it better than what we're doing now?